Hi, I'm Ed Tane McGlasson with Blessing of the Father Ministries. Did you know that you were made to be fathered by God and that His love and blessing can heal you and your family story? That's what the blessing of the Father is all about. Our guest today has been one of my best friends for over 40 years. We actually met on a high school football field running together. His name is Brian Holloway. He is a Stanford All American, 5 time NFL pro football player, and a future Hall of Famer. But his claim to fame is that he's the father of 10 kids and 7 amazing grandchildren. And he's been my personal best friend for most of my life. Today, I've asked Brian to share with us about how fathers can teach and equip their kids to communicate with love and humility and not be influenced by all the negativity in the media that's out there today. So let's welcome Brian Holloway via Skype.
Brian, I wanted to kind of talk to you today, just kind of post Martin Luther King Day and the celebration that we've had, really probably all over the world. And what are some things that you've learned as a father on how you're kind of teaching your kids and your grandkids how to um, not be so reactive and angry, and maybe because it's really kind of like a dog eat dog media circus that's going on every night. People are just attacking one another, and there's very little life being spoken. I mean, what are some things that you're kind of helping your kids with and your family with to prepare them with this crazy social media world?
Well, one of the things that's happening is that um, the producers at the radio and TV stations are looking for ratings. And unfortunately, the ratings that produce the highest amount of them being able to sell sponsoring is this very salacious, tabloidy type of communication. In doing so, what they're not doing is they're not reporting the news. In fact, what they're doing is creating a sensation, which is very distinct and different. And that's why you can even go to social media and you can find out more of what's actually going on through social media than you can through the networks, because the networks are obliged to create a billable experience for their viewers.
Mm.
And so, unfortunately, that's going to be the way it's going to be for here on in. And even the stuff that you pick up on the media or that's released on the government or White House level may in fact be smoke screens so that we don't react to what is actually occurring behind the scenes, because the world is in a very unstable place, and they are the hand of the military and the government is moving in places that we wouldn't see nor would we expect. And I certainly know that's true today. That was the business my father was in when he was doing his classified work. So
So
it's
what?
an important time
Yeah.
for the individuals and your children, really look to the laws that were laid down and the voice that was laid down biblically on, where is the direction? How should I be? What am I broadcasting? Not only online socially, but what am I broadcasting as an individual into the world?
Yeah, that's true. I
And
mean, Jesus calls us, says no one who takes a light takes it and puts it under a basket, right? But he puts it out there so for the
yeah,
whole world to see. So are you sensing that kind of what you're doing as a father is encouraging your kids to maybe be focused more on giving hope and light than in kind of spreading around of all the stuff that's going on right now on social media that's wrong?
well, they've been raised that way. And so because they've been raised that way, they've seen the benefits and the opportunities and the healing that opens up in the lives of other people.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, they're able to get to a bigger future in which they can make yet an even larger contribution. And that's something beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to watch the hand of God work and see that there's some small part of the seed of your vision that has grown in them.
That's right. Because because it really, the words we use really do matter, don't they?
Well, sure they do. I mean, bruises heal.
Yeah.
And that message I didn't quite understand till years later in life. But the young children are labeled by their parents, but particularly their father.
That's right. He has great power, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And you show me what a girl is wearing to high school, and I'll tell you what kind of father she's got.
That's true.
Yeah.
And when a little girl's born and her dad is present and loving and he's dating her and modeling what a young man is supposed to do, she has a whole different expectation level of what that is, right? Versus
Yes.
a girl with no dad who maybe is angry at her father, who's looking to a boy to kind of be the rescuer of her heart.
Yeah. And so she'll spend the rest of her life clubbing her father with behavior that is way outside of the boundaries of what her father would declare as appropriate.
Yeah, that's so true, Brian.
Oh,
So with your kids, kind of practically, for people that are watching today, when you're talking to them, how are you trying to model in the way you speak to them so that they learn how to speak that way to other people?
Well, I think what I do that has helped me a lot is to be able to ask them when I'm talking to them let me be sure I understand what you're saying.
That's
and
good.
then I'll repeat it. And I says, is that what you're saying? And then we'll get to the point of me hearing what they're really saying. And then I go, oh, okay. And then another thing I've done is for each children, we have a code word. And if some way they feel I've disconnected with them or they've disconnected with me, they will immediately speak that word. And then we will both agree to start all over again.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, having to and leave everything that we've said before behind. And so we'll start over again, and we'll even get to a point where we'll check back with each other the next week and ask each other, is there anything I need to clean up? That's awesome. If there is, they're obliged to let me know, because I may say something in a moment that they will interpret in a much different way than I meant. And it's because I was in a particular moment and they took it in a direction that I did not at the time expect they would, even though I may have in fact communicated that to them.
Wow, that is what a nugget that is. So you're checking in and asking questions so that communication is really clear. And when it's not clear, you got the secret code word, and you know that it's time to get down to business to talk so that love can be transferred then.
Well, yeah, and it allows you the opportunity to include forgiveness and reconciliation in the relationship, which is really important because that's the most powerful force of love right there.
That's right. And when you have a culture of forgiveness and communication, it builds a healthy family, doesn't it?
Well, sure it does, and it allows the healing to occur and allows the spread of love to grow as tentacles. And so it grows wide and deep, which is what it's supposed to do.
That's right. Boy, that's powerful, Brian.
Yeah, and it prepares them for their future. Yeah. That's their armor and shield. right there.
That's right. Yeah, there's when I was a young father, I began to understand. I think we learned this together is that inside of every one of our kids and our grandkids is a built-in manual. And if we'll just ask questions, be present, and learn how to really communicate to them at the level that they need, we can be a much better father than we had when we were growing up.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was most amazing to me was each child had a different way in which they were communicated to at the best.
Yeah, that's right.
And no two are the same.
Boy, that's the truth.
So I could say one thing to one child and it'd be no big deal. I say it to another child, it's like throwing a rock at a butterfly.
Butterflies don't like that so much.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And what a great thing. Thank you so much, Brian, today for sharing just a nugget about being a present dad by learning to have conversation that really matters.
Yeah.
And so you might be watching today and you got a really bad conversations going with your kids right now, and they're saying mostly "I hate you." What would you say, Brian, is the quickest way to bridge that gap with a kid that's really angry right now? What have you done in the past?
Well, when they're at that "I hate you" stage, what they're really saying is "I love you" and it failed.
Yeah,
and so the "I hate you" phase is the parent, the father, sitting there and go and spend some time and say, you know what? Those are very strong words. Why don't we sit down and you can help me understand? And I'm going to literally write down the reasons why I have not met the goals that you expected me to meet. And I want to write them all down so that I can understand them. And then what you do is you keep writing and keep asking, keep writing, keep asking, keep writing and asking until you've emptied out and reached the bottom of that hate. And then go right back up and go, what do I need to do? Because I need to be in a position to be your father. But give me some recommendations on how this would work for you. If I need to say this to you, what would say that? Give me the words right now. And then we just lay out an agreement as to what the words will be for that child. And that was very effective for me.
Wow, that is powerful. Wow, what a nugget that is. Well, if this has blessed you, go to theblessingofthefather.com. If you want to know more about Brian Holloway, go to brianholloway.com. And it's been an honor to be with you again today, Brian, and the wisdom that God's kind of dropped into you. Bless you, my friend.
Yeah, well, thank you. And anytime, a child says to you, I hate you, the worst thing you could do is respond emotionally or aggressively, because that's really not what they're saying.
That's right.
They're saying, I love you, and there's been a failure. And the idea is find out where that failure is.
That is so good.
Clean it up.
Hey, listen, that's it, man. Well, we're changing the world together, aren't we? That's awesome.
Yeah, and still being the father, and
that's
still being the voice, and still being the lead.
That's right. That's awesome. Thank you, Brian. You're a blessing, my friend.
We'll talk
to you soon.
Later, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.